Razorback. What's going on, guys? As you can see, we got the sleds all geared up. You can't see shore behind me. We're on big water in Manitoba. And I'm not talking Lake Winnipeg. I'm talking Lake Manitoba. Sort of a secret up-and-coming body of water for walleyes, quantity and quality. Man, I got a love-hate relationship with big water on the ice. It loves to eat up gear and break stuff, but at the same time, it kicks out some crazy fish, so it's usually worth it. And we kicked off the day today with big water style, stuff breaking, losing gear, having to backtrack miles to get it. I even had a bottle of oil explode in the pack here and ruin about everything that I brought with me. And just, those are the types of things that you'll talk about later when you're showing off a picture of a 27-inch walleye. I'm fishing with local hammer Chris Chorney today. Guy is a diehard, and when I say diehard, I don't just mean he fishes sun up to sundown. I mean he'll set up shop and literally camp out of a portable fish house for 3 days straight and live on the ice. He also catches a ton of big walleyes out here and even massive burbot, which would be a nice bonus fish today. Anyway, gonna start off with this big red dot glow PK flutterfish. It really dances, it kicks out to the side of the hole up to 5, 6, 7 feet to the side, so you're covering a lot of water even though you're only in an 8-inch hole. You can call them in, but with the spoon then you can slow it down and dance it if they want to be fussy and not eat. I might be throwing salties on there for scent. Those things like to fall off, so one thing I like to do up here, add that feathered treble, so if your minnow does fall off, you still have that real subtle wag to get him to bite when you slow way down. Gotta admit, I'm a little bit nervous to have only 6-pound test on here. This is my Gull Lake special back home in central Minnesota. I probably should have bumped her up to an 8 or a 10, but we'll roll with it. Probably the only person out here using that ultralight line. All these old timers run 10, 12, or 15, maybe straight braid. Straight braid, Eric?
No, I put the fluorocarbon leader.
Look at you! How heavy?
10 pound.
10 pound. 10 pound makes sense when there's 10 pound walleyes. 6 pound means scary. Break that spell. It is a Walter! Jackpot! Look how fat that fish is! Oh. That's an average fish?
Yeah, that's average. That's average.
Look how thick that thing is.
That's what I'm telling you.
Ow. Wow.
They got a good attitude.
They do. He crushed it.
Wow.
Man, it felt so good to pop that first fish of the day. My first Lake Manitoba walleye. Crazy how thick it is. I think that fish might have only been a 20-incher or low 20s, and it still had to have been over 4 pounds. And what I kind of noticed is it still had that kind of greenish shimmer to it, like the Lake Winnipeg greenbacks. That really caught me off guard because you hear that those greenbacks are exclusive to Big Windy, but I don't know, I believe they call it a prairie gold around here, kind of a green gold. Gorgeous fish. It actually came in and just teased me and played with my bait for like, I bet you over a minute straight, chasing me up and down and just kind of moseying around. And it was always off to the side of the cone, so it never looked like a thick mark. It was just kind of a green line, and he must have just been circling me like a wolf or something. And then finally what I did is I opened my bail, I let my bait slam all the way to bottom, I watched him chase it down, and I ripped it past him up 3 feet, wiggled it in place, and he shot up with it and just crushed it. Awesome first fish. Let's keep it rolling. Fish. Jackpot. Dude, never even graphed him. 6 feet of water, and I was just sitting here minding my own business, and all of a sudden Went to jig and my rod tip stayed down where it was. God, these things are so healthy. Right in the top of the snoot. He's waving goodbye. We'll just keep rolling with it.
Yep.
Love it, dude.
Sweet.
So fun in that shallow water.
I think it's because you got the lucky hat.
It's gotta be. Nice and tight on that right there, yeah.
I need that toque after, man.
Oh, hands off.
No,
You guys got sticky fingers.
That's the Lindner's angling edge toque, but I'm taking it off your head, Brett, for sure.
We leave anything laying around and it disappears in other people's tackle boxes around here. Sketchy crew. All right, so salties love to fall off the hook because they're basically just a pile of mush. So one thing that my buddy Eric LaBopa, ba-la-la-la-la-la-bopa, these are all just chopped. You got the bottom of the barrel here, Nick.
Well, some of them didn't fit in the puck, so
Oh, you just get
I just kind of cut them in half. I don't know. I figured I'd stick a bunch on the hook and call it good.
Yeah, gob it on.
Wait.
So one thing that the guys here like to do, they're salties, so they stay on longer than 2 rips, is they play a little ring around the rosy. Pocket full of salties. Basically, you pop each one of the treble hooks into a salty. Like yay. So you can see that should stay on 3 times better than just hooking it once. A little treat down there wiggling.
I won't.
Thanks for the bait, Puck.
It does.
Now let's go put it to good use. Come on, eat it. Eat it. Oh, no. Oh, it broke just on weight. There's no way that fish is dumb enough to eat again. 6-pound test. I'm an idiot. Oh my gosh. I don't know if my line was wrapped around my tip a little bit or what, but it broke like, not a cut. I heard it go like snap. Oh no! Are you kidding me? If I catch this fish and get my spoon back, I'm going to scream like a little girl on a rattle bait. Oh! No! Get out of here. Oh, it's not in there. I don't even know what to say right now. I had a mark fly in, crush my flutter spoon. On the hook set, I snapped off, just like nothing. It wasn't the line like being cut by a pike or really breaking. It was like a crack. And I think maybe I'll have to look back at the footage. My line was wrapped around the spool or something. But I watched that mark. Oh, here we go. Here's what happens when you catch 3 fish in a row. You get Nick Linder running in and crowding you. It's good, I'll use that as a dead stick hole after I beat his... Anyway, I snapped off, I watched that mark fade down to the bottom on my graph, and I quick like grabbed the only rod that was close with a big old rattle bait on it, dropped it down, and that same fish, I'm almost positive, because that mark didn't leave my graph, came up, smoked the rattle bait, obviously wasn't expecting that, so I missed it, dropped back down again, and it hit it, and I caught the fish. It did not have my old spoon in its mouth, but in Manitoba we're using barbless, so I'm sure it shook out when it was thrashing. I've never seen anything like that. And hey, thanks for drilling me a dead stick hole.
Hey Eric, you want a hole too?
Get out of here. So who doesn't love fishing with rattle baits? You get to sit there and do big aggressive rips and jig strokes instead of sitting there and just wiggling the tip. But honestly, the majority of the fish I've ever stuck on a rattle bait is when I back off, I see them on the graph, and I get to rocking and rolling in what I believe Aaron Wiebe coined, the buck and bronco. When you're rolling that tip and getting the back end of that bait to kick up and down, but the bait is staying in place, is just deadly when you got one mean mugging it and not eating. So big rips to call them in, 2-3 feet, and then stop and rock that bait in place. Don't ever let your tip go slack. You don't want to pound it. You want it to load up and mush and just rock and roll, and you'll get the most action out of that bait. Catch a lot more fish. All right, I hate the word game changer. Everything's a game changer. This new line is a game changer. There's really not that many things that actually change the game in the fishing industry. There's been a handful. Oh, here we go.
This bait puck is a game changer.
It sure beats putting them in your pocket without a puck. Anywho, yes, there's some awesome new sonars on the market that are game changers, but one of these things that I think actually deserves that label, the Markham Lithium Shuttle. I've been fishing with this unit for 2 days straight. I'm at 80% battery, and if you see this USB plug here, I've been filming and powering my cameras and charging batteries off of the shuttle for the entire day, and I fished with this unit all day yesterday too, and my battery's still at 80%. What? How nice is that? I would have had to switch that Garmin Verb battery, I don't know, every 2 hours or whatever throughout the entire day. You know how annoying that is? Not when you've got 2 USB plugs on your unit. And it shaves, I think it's like 3.5 pounds off with that lithium battery instead. Such a sweet unit. Got him! Good fish. On the dead stick. Baby, baby!
What's that one?
That's literally called the clam. It's called the Peg Spoon by Clam.
Named
the Peg,
after.
as in Lake Winnipeg. Big, fluttery, buttery, good-looking thing. And I guess it works over next door too. Razorback.
That is insanely beautiful.
That's a big mark. Oh, maybe it's not a big mark. Maybe there's like 3 small marks. Oh, okay. Maybe it's just one big mark and I missed him.
What's up your mind, bro?
It's okay. We're in Manitoba. It'll eat again. I feel like I should try the old rattle bait down the other hole trick. See if I can get myself into another weird mess. But if a fish comes out of it, I guess it's worth it. I don't know how you jig with 2 rods at the same time. Oh no. My brain can't understand which one to set the hook on.
I think I double my chances of catching a walleye.
Oh no! I almost got my first ever dueling rod fish.
About 60 seconds in.
Oh, now what? I feel like if I just focused on the one, I would catch this fish again. Are you kidding me? I missed him again. Fish this rattle bait, dude. You gotta drop it down a couple more feet. Oh my god, I just missed him again. How many times can you miss the same fish and it still eats? The answer in Minnesota is 0.
Yeah.
Right now, the answer in not Winnipeg, Lake Manitoba is up to, I think 5.
5?
So let's see if 6.
Was that him?
Yeah. He's just skirting around. No way on the rattle bait!
Oh. Put the reel on this side.
Oh, one.
No way. Yes!
Success!
What in the world?
You just had to come take it out of my hole.
The only way that I can actually
Fish, man.
The only way that I can actually catch a fish is if I steal Brett's rod. Check out this chunker. Holy cow.
On the rattle bait's
Can you
probably
believe
my
it?
favorite part.
Sweet. And what bait is this?
A live target golden shine or rattle bait.
Live target golden
And like we
shiner.
said, that's average size. That's what they average here.
These are toads. These
crazy,
things
I
are
tell you, man.
absolutely
They're so
stacked.
thick.
3-4 pounders is what the average.
Like, why does this thing want to bite a bait? Like, is it not
Right.
pulling up, right?
It's like having a cheeseburger and then you still order cheesecake.
Right.
There's not another single person fishing on this lake. We drove, what, 6-7 miles to get to this first spot. I saw probably 5 little permanent hard house shacks that were out on the ice from some locals. Nobody at them. Not another snowmobile, wheeler, or truck anywhere. Nowhere. What the heck? All these walleyes and just a couple of numbnuts from central Minnesota. All right, I just got to go talk to Eric. He's like the local Manitoba connoisseur. What are we, about an hour away from Lake Winnipeg, or from Winnipeg?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
45 minutes?
If we drove straight east, we'd get
Sure.
there in about 45 minutes and we'd be fishing. The lake isn't as developed as all. I mean, you see the cottages that we passed by over there, but really, in the grand scheme of things, the whole lake is underdeveloped. So it's a back lake for all intents and purposes. It's a back lake. It's second largest lake. It's an inland ocean. Second largest lake in the province, and it's a back lake. And it's funny that it's like that. But so these walleyes, aside from some commercial fishing, are mostly untouched. Like,
It's incredible.
putting it out that way, that's all new frontier right there.
Yeah. Come explore it. It's pretty cool. I was excited to come here because, like I mentioned before, I've heard rumors that this lake is on the upswing. I had talked to a guy who knew a local. Actually, it was down the mountain with Hooked Magazine. He had a buddy out here, and in the first 2-3 weeks of the season, that guy had 8 or 10 masters by himself. Over 28-inch walleye, 8 or 10, and however many times he came out. And he has never fished deeper in the last 2 years than 10 feet of water. How stinking cool is that? And apparently, he's had it to himself. I kind of feel bad saying we're on Lake Manitoba. I feel like I'm gonna get some like mean letters from from the old guys with the spear shacks around
Just
here.
from some local guys, yeah, you might.
But you know what? There's tons of room. I feel like it's okay. There's a lot of open real estate here, so I don't know. I'm excited to see what the rest of this day brings. So we stayed in the lovely town of Portage la Prairie last night. Got a good night's sleep finally after a couple of short nights. And it was maybe a 10 or 15 minute drive to the lake. And I just can't stop thinking about how much this makes me feel like I'm on Lake Winnipeg. We're fishing on the south basin of a big lake, and it's a similar type of situation where there's all these different feeder creeks and rivers. And do they flow in or out? Is it like Winnipeg?
Flows in.
They flow in. I mean, it's like the perfect storm, just like Winnipeg. You know, it maybe doesn't have the Red River, like the big tributary where all those fish push up in the fall, but I mean, there's enough, obviously, current to get bait fish pulled up here and then walleyes with them. But it just reminds me so much of it and the perfect storm, minus nobody else around.
He's in the chamber.
Do you need my assistance?
Whoa.
Whoa, whoa.
I got one.
Hey.
Top side.
Yeah.
Success.
Success!
Success.
Nice fish, man.
Really big one, dude.
That
Yeah.
appears to be a little buttery, fluttery spoon.
Look at that there, yeah. A little bit of glow in the dark. And
Sweet.
She purty, man.
like that is the average. Isn't that crazy?
Holy cow.
We're talking 3. Like you hold them in your hands. That's 3-4
Ridiculous
pounds.
average.
Wow. Get back in there. All right.
Dude,
Success.
awesome job.
Yeah, man.
All right, man.
She's a tidbit nipply out here. Now I'm all fogged up. But gotta love hole hopping. Actually, the sun's finally setting. I feel like it's time for me to finally bust out of my shell today. Shout out to Nick for letting me borrow his hat after mine got doused in oil. Whoa, we still got daylight left. I've had my sunglasses on since like 5 in the morning. Alright, I guess we got a little bit more fishing time than I thought left.
Oh, you got it.
He might still bite again.
He will bite again.
I don't understand that, how these things will just eat and eat and eat.
Yeah.
That thing got a treble hook in the face.
Yeah.
And they'll still turn around and try it again.
He'll be right back here. So it happens when you're hanging. Oh, look at that sucker, he's in the hole.
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Oh, he swam back up.
There. There you go. Yeah, look at that beauty.
That's why you don't use a 10-inch auger.
No, that's why you don't. Oh.
They're so healthy.
They are, yeah. Beautiful.
Thick, perky. Love it, man. Little pot bellies.
There's a lot of nice fish here that bite just right before dark, and you know, right into the dark. Like you know, right up to 7 o'clock, it's getting dark 5:30, and fish are still just hammering around 7 o'clock, and it's just amazing, you know, what a lot of guys are missing going in early. It's just unbelievable. It's something like I've never seen before. So
that's so cool. So are you catching them on the same thing after dark, or are you switching baits?
No, same bait.
Which
you know,
is?
Williams Ice Spoon. I mean, hands down, it's been the top bait for me out here. 3-inch, so it'd be the 70 series. And it's the ice spoon with the hooks in the actual spoon like that. It allows you to profile your bait in so many different ways too, like which is awesome. You can wrap it around the treble, or you can profile it on the side of the spoon, whatever, right? So that's what's producing about a foot off bottom and about 12-inch rips. Let it flutter down. Don't try and stop it. Just let it free fall. And when it hits that foot, it stops, pause, 1, 2, 3 seconds, flip it again, 1, 2, 3, pause, and that's what's working. So
I had never seen that bait before. Now, is that a local thing, or is it just?
You know what? I picked it up in Winnipeg and I started using it there, and they actually didn't sell it local here. And I went into the local tackle shop here, and I presented it to them, and I said, "Man, you guys got to get some of these." And so now they're selling them here local. But you know what? I use them for everything. They're awesome. I use them for Lakers and everything.
So like 2 days ago, the first time I ever saw that bait, no, yesterday, we went and chased some whitefish, and guys were using those for whitefish, and
they're just remarkable. Like, I use them for a bunch of different trout. I mean, walleyes, pike, I mean, you name it. Lake trout go nuts over them, and they sell them right from 30 up to 90 series. So I mean,
got you covered.
Yeah, they got you covered, man.
Well, we're running out of light. I tried to say bye earlier, but then the fish started biting again, so I had to pop a couple more quick. It's time to pack up. We got places to be. We're bopping over to Winnipeg tonight. Gonna actually shoot a podcast this evening with Eric Labopa and Garth, Big China, the whole crew. Look at this. Look at this sunset with nobody anywhere. If you're somebody who plans a trip up to Lake Winnipeg once a year or a couple times a year, maybe add a couple days on either side of that trip and leave it open to come explore Lake Manitoba, just an hour west. There's nobody out here. I mean, if you got the tracked vehicle or the sleds and you don't like fishing by crowds or people, just come out here in Baja around the South Shore, and there's plenty of fish. There's lots of opportunity, and you're the only ones that will be out here the whole time, which there's something to be said about not having anybody fishing on top of you. This wasn't my bite. I didn't get this dialed in. This is 100% Chris Chorney's baby, and can't thank him enough for getting us on these fish. Catching them out of 6 feet of water, you barely have to reel, you just step back. What a cool experience. Can't wait to come back. Thank you so much for watching. I seriously appreciate it. If you dug this, do me a favor.
Smash that like button.
Smash
that
it.
subscribe button.
Boom.